Hello, good evening on a super hot Thursday evening. Welcome to a show with no name. I'm Marlon Weems, and I am the publisher of the Journeyman newsletter on Substack. And I'm here with my man. Come on, Arturo. Go on in, man.
I'm the publisher of Decolonized Journalism here on Substack and all around troublemaker pretty much everywhere else. So.
Well, that is a fact. And I mean, folks, we are trying to bring a little bit of a different experience that is different than traditional media. Hence the dudes in their kitchens with microphones. if you're watching us, if not, it probably sounds pretty good, I bet. At any rate, a whole lot of stuff to talk about. So I am anticipating a lively conversation because I know I got a lot to say.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot.
So, folks, I would just say, sit back, get you some popcorn, and get ready for the show.
Yeah. So, oh man, what a week so far. And tomorrow's Friday, so it's going to be bad. But yeah, the earthquake, Venezuela. Let's start with that real quick and get out of the way.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do our intro, man, just so we can stay on? Because I have a routine, and if it gets messed up, then I'm all discombobulated. So
all right, anyway, let's do it.
So let's do the intro, and then we'll see you on the other side, folks. All right. Now, now that we've had a little bit of a palate cleanser, Arturo, I'm going to turn you loose, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on the two earthquakes, I guess you call it, in Venezuela. There was a 7.1 and a 7.5, pretty bad. And
when
on
did
Substack,
this
this morning, last night,
dude,
somewhere,
morning. And you see, this is the first I've heard about it.
Really?
I hadn't heard of it. I hadn't heard anything. I don't really watch, the local or the cable stuff, but I listened to a few things this morning. Nobody mentioned it.
Yeah. So, on Substack, we're all familiar with Elizabeth Raven. She's from Caracas.
Yes.
She's been in Canada, visiting with her son and stuff. So she was supposed to fly back into Venezuela today, and their flight was canceled. So she wasn't there. Most of her family's and stuff is safe. So she wanted to throw that update out there for people, because I know some folks were concerned about her. But it's pretty devastating. Something close to like 150 people dead so far, 1,000 injured, tens of thousands missing. It was pretty bad. And the U.S. obviously they were the first to say we're going to send aid. But I wanted to highlight
what are the strings going to be?
There's a lot of military.
What are the strings going to be?
Right. And I think they're going to use this as an opportunity to further embed themselves militarily in Venezuela. But, it's a tragedy. And, seeing how the White House is reacting and, trying to push a lot of resources that way, mostly military resources, it's just kind of a slap in the face, I guess. And also, the devastation that's going on there, the United States immediately released like $150 million to send in aid. When, just a few months ago, Cuba had a hurricane and they set aside a whopping $3 million for Cuba. Haiti got 40 million, everybody else got tens of millions, Cuba gets $3 million. But you see these contrasts and you see these motivations, and like in the middle of trying to, of sympathizing for all these people and everything that they're going through, you just see these people, in the White House, they see an opportunity rather than actually try to help people. And it's pretty frustrating, really frustrating to see. And, when you consider some of the other news that's been happening this week, some of what we discussed before we came on the air,
Mm-hmm.
it's, I said it today, it's fascism. Like nothing really surprises me anymore. It still hurts. It just doesn't surprise me, and it's
Man, I remember the first time that I used the word fascism in like a post. It was Trump's first term, and I got so much, like, oh, you're just being, it's hyperbole and blah blah
right.
blah. I don't know where those people are now. I don't hear from them because
Yeah.
now it is so beyond just. I mean, the whole thing about everything's got to have his damn name on it and a picture of him and all this. It's like, what it reminds me of, The Man in the High Castle. You remember that? It's
Right.
that TV
Yeah.
show where, like,
Yeah.
what if Germany would have won? That kind of thing. And I don't know, man. I cannot get my mind around how there are people who still support this guy. A lot of
Yeah.
people in this country and he's hurting them, and they are just like an abused spouse or something. I don't even know what to make of it, honestly.
Yeah. I've talked to people that still support him, and like, they called Joe Biden a pedophile for sniffing on some little girl's hair. This guy, I heard today, and I
Ooh.
haven't validated this, but supposedly Donald Trump is in the Epstein files more than Jesus is in the Bible. Okay,
I mean,
so
he's in there.
I
No,
mean,
he's in there thousands
I
and
know,
thousands of times,
right?
and it's just,
Like you're gonna
dude.
call Biden a pedophile for sniffing some little girl's hair, but then this guy who's all over Epstein Island isn't. And it's these
Well, no, they don't
hypocritical,
even give us the courtesy of denying it. They just don't want to talk
right?
about it at all. They want you to stop talking about it.
Yeah,
And
their
it's just
response
crazy.
time is there's more Democrats in the Epstein files than Republicans. But there's one
Okay.
in
I
there,
don't care. If they look, dude, I don't know who needs to hear this. If Bill Clinton did some shady shit, bye bye Bill.
right?
We don't have the what do you call it? The personality or the cult of personality problem. We don't have that.
Right, right,
Democrats don't like each other at all. let
right.
alone
I
let
mean,
alone trying to have one person be the whole figurehead of the party. Shoot, we can't even decide anything, which leads me to Hakeem Jeffries. Y'all, somebody go get this man.
the
Somebody
freak
go
out.
get him. So there is an entire just pearl clutching, wig snatching freak out because Mom Donnie keeps on winning. I heard the
Right.
other day this guy's approval rating, I think it's up in the 70s. So
Yeah.
how can you really have a bad thing to say about a guy so they're telling basically, um, let's put Hakeem over to the side, Jamie Harrison. Now Jamie knows better, right? This guy, and
Yeah.
this is what lets you know the level of panic. He wrote something, I guess, on one of these Twitter or Blue Sky or something, basically saying y'all need to quit running in our party. If
Oh
you
yeah.
don't like the Democratic Party, quit winning our elections. I mean, what kind of silliness is that, man? Instead of
Right.
recognizing that the trend is shifting in that direction, they want to argue with, they want to get mad at the data. It's
Right.
sad. It's sad, dude. It
Right.
is
And
sad.
in the media, you're seeing it everywhere. I even saw it in the liberal daily news in New York City this morning, about Democrat socialists. And
Oh
I
yeah,
laughed.
yeah.
I
Well,
said
they get
something about this earlier. There's nothing socialist about them, really.
well. You know
Um,
what? If you don't like socialism, stop taking Social Security. Why do you think the word
yeah,
social is in it? It's freaking social.
right,
I tell you what, get off your HMO healthcare plan. Stop driving on these streets that everybody pays for. All that is socialism, folks. And
right.
what we are so damn dumb. We're so dumb. We let people talk us into stuff like this.
Yeah.
I wrote an article, man, it's got to be 5 years ago. In fact, I think it was the same one that might have mentioned fascism, but I quoted Harry Truman
Mm,
because they were doing the same thing back then. There was something he was doing, and everybody was saying, "Oh, that's socialism." It's the same.
right.
This has been the buzz. Well, it was socialism, and of course, calling us liberal, radical liberals, and these, man, I almost said a really bad word. These fools. Wow. I mean, this isn't a family show, but I did not want to say that. I'm so glad I was able to level set just real quick. These people keep allowing the same routine every time. I don't get it.
Yeah.
They are like the coyote on the road, the same trap every time. Democrats keep falling into it. Instead of saying, look at all these elections we won, they're saying, oh, wait, this is a quote. How about this? This is in the Huffington Post. I guess it was yesterday. So this is what Hakeem Jeffrey said. Asked if Mamdani's endorsements were making him enemies with Democrats in Washington, D.C., Jeffries told CNN that he and Mamdani strongly, that's in quotations, disagree over his primary picks. Now, according to Jeffries, the mayor has serious, quote, work to do in terms of the conversations he's going to have with members of Congress moving forward. What the fuck's this guy talking about, man?
Right.
What does he's acting like I don't know, like Mamdani got caught in the Epstein files.
Right.
What is he talking about? The man is winning elections. You need to get on board. That's what you need to
Right.
do.
And it's not. I hear a lot of all these policies that are going to work in New York aren't going to work everywhere else. It's
Really?
not about that. It's not about that, right? Like we don't have a rent control situation that we need to address here in Houston, right?
Right.
So,
But
but the point is Mamdani listens to people. These progressives that are winning are listening to people. They're providing solutions to problems, at least ideas for solutions to problems. And this is what Democrats don't get. When Mamdani won, there was all these articles from consultants about how they need to copy his social media strategy. And I'm like, dude, it has nothing
it's
to
not
do with
the
his social media strategy. It's his policies. It's
really.
who he's
Trump's got a
talking to.
great social media policy. I don't want to follow him.
Right.
That
Right.
dude kills it on social media, but
Yeah.
they are just so myopic, man. I am telling you, I was so glad that we were going to be on today because I have been I st- I started with Egberto yesterday, just going off about this, and I'm still not through. So
Yeah.
as opposed to my poor children having to just like, what's wrong with daddy? I mean, man, it really makes me angry because I saw in the Substack chat room someone said that too big to fail was socialism. It absolutely was. On the trading desk I used to work on, I've said my wife's heard this a million times, but I kid you not. Whenever there was a bailout, dudes would be on the trading desk looking at each other, just going, capitalism on the way up, socialism on the way down. Because
Yeah.
every single time, they would not allow these, they milk the system under the, the guise of capitalism. They are in our pockets 24/7. And then when they don't handle their business right, oh, oh, please help us. And we
Yeah.
saw it. We saw it with banks. We saw it with insurance companies during the financial
Yeah.
crisis. We've since seen it. Folks don't remember this. 2 or 3 years ago, several banks, Silicon Valley Bank and 2 or 3 other ones, boom, 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 just blew up.
Yeah. And
And
then it
I'm
was,
telling y'all,
GM
go
and
ahead.
Chrysler needed
Oh,
bailout.
dude,
G-
I was
yeah.
a participant in the GM deal. I actually
Really?
sold some. Yeah, yeah. The firm I worked for was a manager on that deal, and the government did okay on it. They made money,
Yeah.
and that's great. But the idea that you can't get help, that working people can't get help because it might be socialism. I just don't,
Right.
man. I'm trying to tell you, I really pity the person that tries to have that conversation with me, because I'm
Right.
telling you, and I'm going to tell you what else. Just watch AI. Just watch when these companies aren't able to live up to these lofty, predictions. And I'm not saying AI is bad. AI works just fine, I guess, for what it does, what it's supposed to do. I'm talking about these companies going out here borrowing all this money. Look at what SpaceX did. They raised what on a valuation of over $1 trillion. So they
Mm-hmm.
raised billions of dollars in the public markets. You know what the first thing they did was? Turn around and borrowed money in the bond market. I think $30 billion. And okay, why would they do that? Because they can.
Right.
You know, you
Right.
strike while the iron's hot, and they're probably looking at it with a view to the fact that the Federal Reserve is probably going to have to raise interest rates. So if you're going to borrow money, you might as well do it now.
Right.
My only point is this, and I think it was Mark Cuban who said this. I love that guy. For a billionaire, I guess he's okay. He owns a basketball team. I mean, how can you hate the
Right.
guy?
Well,
So,
yeah.
and he doesn't say, at least I'm sure he does, but he doesn't do it often. Like some of these guys walking around, poor me. Everybody wants to tax me. I'm gonna be down to like 50 billion instead of 100 billion. He's not that guy. But he made a comment that I had not thought about. He said, all this stuff that they're committing to buy, all this capital expenditure. Well, what happens when all this stuff starts getting really cheap and anybody can jump in, right? Just like what we're doing right now. This setup that we've got, Arturo, first of all, 15 years ago, we couldn't even do this. And
Right.
then it got to a point where, okay, you can do it, but it's very expensive. Well, now two guys can basically start a media empire.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Uh-oh, I let the cat out of the bag. That's what we're doing, folks. Doggone it. I shouldn't have mentioned it. No,
We're
but
gonna sell
seriously.
tomorrow for $2 billion.
Yeah, man. Shoot. No. We're going to rebrand as an AI company.
There you
And
go.
then we really, dude, we probably could get 7 figures if we figure out how to. I mean, I wrote something maybe a month or two back. This shoe company, Allbirds, right? They went, they're on the verge of bankruptcy, and then they rebranded themselves as an AI company. They just said it. They didn't have a product. They were just like, we ain't selling shoes no more. We're in the AI business now. Stock went through the roof.
Jesus.
Went through the roof,
Yeah,
man.
let's
So
do
yeah,
that. Let's go public. Let's go
I
public
think,
tomorrow.
yeah, let's go
We're in the
public,
AI
man.
business.
Hey, Shannon, we're going public tomorrow. I just told my wife, get ready. We're going public tomorrow, and we're going to be rich.
Yeah, just like that. We're in the
I
AI
know,
business now.
just like that. Man, you're laughing, but it's almost that crazy. When I
Right.
went to New York, this was in late 2000, and it was so crazy that companies were literally going public on a business plan.
Yeah.
I had just got to New York, and dudes were sending me their business plan, wanting to know, could we Could we help them go public? And I'm like, what the hell? All you got
Right.
is a business plan, you know. But no, it's just how bubbles develop, man, and people stop
Yeah.
using their heads. And so I
Yeah.
saw, man, I keep seeing these companies, and it's like me lending you money and you lending, Egberto money. And then Egberto comes around and now I'm borrowing money from Egberto. It's the same, it's the same
Yeah.
freaking money, right? And they're doing it.
Right.
And I don't know why the markets think this is so great. I'm just stumped. I've never seen it before.
There must be value in that borrowing, I mean,
Oh,
I don't know.
dude, there is a
It's
lot of money getting made. That's for sure. You just don't want to be when the music stops. You better make
right.
sure you got a chair because it's gonna stop. And folks are gonna be pushing. That's my chair. It's gonna be ugly, man. I'm telling you, you can see it shaping up right now.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
something. You know what? I'm going to table it. I'll see if I can find the clip because it's so freaking complicated what Nvidia is doing.
Mm.
Because a lot of the Bank for International Settlements, this isn't the story, but it's kind of in conjunction with it. They put out a research report maybe a month ago, and they were saying, we're starting to get kind of concerned that these AI companies may be doing a lot of borrowing off the books in these, special purpose entities where it doesn't show up on the balance sheet. So when somebody is trying to determine, should I invest in this company, they're not going to see a whole bunch of debt. So when you
Right.
see, and folks who don't know, the Bank for International Settlements, I guess it's sort of the bank's bank, if you will.
Yeah.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they deal with the Federal Reserve banks all over, the globe. Every country has their own central bank, and so they're the bank for those central banks. So for them to put out something like that is just really, what do they know,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Right. That is strange.
Yeah.
That is very
Anyway,
strange.
man, in the meantime, let's not forget to beat up Democrats. I mean,
Well,
I'm so mad at these guys. I really did, because I don't know who does Hakeem Jeffries think he represents? He doesn't represent Washington. He's supposed to represent New York or his district. His district is voting for this. If
right.
I mean, I don't know, man. I was surprised that no one challenged him seriously. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
just
think
wonder. Go ahead, man.
no. I think a lot of it has to do with you're in there in Congress for so long, you're in a bubble, and
Hmm.
at some point, a lot of these lawmakers stop listening to their constituents, and rather than listen, they'll start pushing back. We see a lot of Republicans do that to voters here in Texas. They dismiss people's complaints all the time. One good example was Greg Abbott being dismissive about collecting the billions of dollars he spent on this immigration stuff on Operation Lone Star. He was supposed to get that money back from the federal government. And, in the big, beautiful bill, they set aside billions of dollars to pay Texas back. Well, Abbott never filed for that money. Voters
Wait
were
a minute.
starting to get up in arms about it.
He
They
doesn't
want
want the
that.
money?
No, they want that money back. He was being dismissive. Oh, it's just a few people, this, that, and the other. Well, last week, he finally filed the paperwork to get that money back because people are genuinely pissed. They want their billions back. We have shortages in school funding and healthcare, housing, all this stuff. People want that money back. So while Abbott was dismissive at first, which is kind of what I get from Jeffries, right? Like he's kind of trying to push back on the data, on what people are saying, and you have these consultants who are analyzing social media and all this stuff, and social media is partially the real world, but people don't act in the real world like they do on social media.
Because
People
they're not
vote,
stupid. You can't run around
right,
talking to
and
people like you can't talk to me like that in person, not the way folks talk
right,
to me on social media.
right. So they're there's this disconnect in the establishment with Democrats where, they're leaning on consultants and data and, more than anything, and they're not paying attention to what's happening on the ground. Data will tell you a story after the fact. It can't predict what's coming. AI, same thing. It's just data. So if you're not paying attention to what your constituents are saying and what voters are doing, and you're just relying on the data, well, when
Mm-hmm.
you finally catch up, the game's over. You're way behind. You never scored a point. And that's where a lot of these Democrats are, the Pelosi's, the Jeffries, the Schumers, Cory Booker. There's a lot of Democrats that are probably going to be ousted. I don't see like this massive, huge progressive wave, but I do see progressives making inroads. And no, I won't call them democratic socialists. They're progressives at best. Um, but yeah, I think I see progressives making a lot of inroads, even here in Texas. We elect progressive leaders all the time. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
most of our legislature is Republican, but still, in certain districts, we still elect some progressives. And it's in Texas, it's about populism, and I think that the idea of, it's about economic populism in Texas. We're an oil rich state, so it's all about the economy all the time. And I think that that's starting to spread to more states, the populism idea, the economic populism idea.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that that's a bad thing. It can go bad, populism, if you're not careful. But I think that that's what's driving a lot of these elections, and the Democrats are just way behind the times. This whole panic about Democrat socialists in the media is telling. They're freaking out about this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like we used to
had they
say in
been listening,
Arkansas, man, hit
right, they'd
dog
have
or
seen it
holler.
coming if they would just listen. Right. Yeah.
And
I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's
ridiculous.
crazy. I mean, they're telling on themselves. I would add to the just sort of the reasoning behind why they're so um, just missing the point, right? I think these guys, and look, maybe it's just human nature. These guys have gotten in these positions, these consultants, they're making money hand over fist, and they do not want to be disrupted, right?
Right.
And, prove me wrong, but I just think you get these guys and Hakeem Jeffries knows a few rap tunes and that's great, but I don't see him hanging out in the hood. You know, I
Yeah.
don't see him going talking to now. Maybe he's doing it. Maybe they just don't show it on the channels I watch. Every time I see him, he's putting on a show for somebody. But at the same time, you can't get him to talk about Israel at all. Forget that.
Right.
Better
Right.
not, better not bring up Palestine. And I think
Right.
the whole thing is backfiring on these guys because I think they
Hmm.
thought, here's what I think. I think they thought, okay, yeah, this guy won, but watch, he's going to get in there and he's going to start doing some really crazy stuff, whatever it is they think is crazy. And, he'll be unpopular and it'll be a bust. Well, sorry. Not
Yeah.
only did that not happen, now the guy, at least in the state of New York, is a kingmaker.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying he's on the other side of this, the Republicans think they've got something to run with. And I don't know. Okay. They got to have something. They don't have any accomplishments to talk about. They don't want to talk about the Epstein files. I almost said
All
the X
right.
Files. But yeah, I mean, it might as well be the X Files, right? I mean,
Yeah.
every time somebody goes looking for them, something crazy will happen. And it's like
Yeah.
I saw, um, what's the guy's name that won George Santos's seat in New York? He tries to style himself as being moderate and all of this, but he's not really moderate at all. And he was on Bloomberg yesterday saying that, Democrats are going to have to answer for Mamdani. They're always, and he was like chastising, pardon me, he's chastising the people on Bloomberg saying, y'all are always asking us about Trump. And one of the people said, well, Donald Trump's the president. This
Right.
guy's a mayor of a city. Why should
Yeah.
somebody in Colorado be responsible for what's happening there? I mean, they might want to be. Maybe they should get on that train. But it's such a
Right.
sad little, attempt to try to come up with something.
Yeah.
Talking about,
And one of the things that I've been noticing with this whole freak out about Democrat socialists is, are Democrats going to start sounding like Republicans now? Donald Trump went on this rant about socialism and communism, and it doesn't work in New York, blah blah blah. Right?
well, let them do that, and they'll
we're
lose
nowhere near
again.
communism, right? Yeah.
Haven't we
So
already
like,
tried that? I mean, didn't
right?
Kamala try that? Didn't Hillary try that? Trying to be
That's true.
all, I'll never forget hearing Kamala Harris say something, like, we want the most lethal military, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
Right.
look, we know what the Army does. You don't have to act like a soldier. Okay.
Right.
But look what militarism has done for us this year.
Right.
Aside from the fact that we don't even know how many billions we're out with this mess, it has ruined our reputation. It has let people know that if they can take a couple of punches, they can beat us.
Right.
I
Right. And
mean, you
when
know,
Harris said that about the most lethal military, I thought, oh, that's a bad one.
mhm.
If you're anywhere left of Republicans, that was a bad thing to say, particularly if you know how many people we killed in the so-called war on
Thank
terror.
you. Thank
We're
you.
talking millions. How much more
Dude,
lethal? How much more
how
lethal
many?
can we be?
Look, man, any gun is lethal. But
Right.
you don't just point at anybody, right? I mean, it's crazy how these people have they have just made it so that this is all romanticized, right?
Yeah.
Talking about the military and all this shit we can do to people and so on. Man, we
Yeah.
have messed up a whole bunch of societies over the decades.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not, to me, it's not something to brag on. Honestly,
Right. No,
I just
and
don't.
that's something that, again, we go back to that bubble, right? They're surrounded by wealthy people or representatives of wealthy people. They're lobbyists and war
Hmm.
machine people and the prison industrial complex and all that stuff. And that's what
Defense
influences them.
contractors.
Right. They rationalize some of the things these people say, and then they think they're going to sell it to you. I lost you.
I muted myself.
There you go. There you go.
I get carried away and start hitting stuff. A couple of days ago, I saw this stand-up guy, and I posted it. If you go look in my, just my feed on Notes, it's there. And you know how, it's a stand-up guy, and he's just talking to people, and he asked this one person who happens to be trans. It comes out in the course of the back and forth. He asked, what do you do? And they kind of didn't really want to say. And then, well, I work for a defense contractor. And the guy just sort of queried a little bit further, and ends up, you have a trans woman who's liberal who says she hates capitalism, but she works for a defense contractor making the rocket engine that makes missiles take off. And the guy was like, how do you square that shit?
Right.
You working, and he said, so are you like the only trans person? And she was like, no, there's a lot of us. I don't know, man. Look, maybe, and of course it was money, because he said, why are you doing that? And he asked her what was her job before that, dude. She was a barista. Like at some little local coffee place. And he's like, so when she said I was a barista, he said, so you were radicalized by Starbucks? And she said, well, no. It was a local. It wasn't Starbucks.
Oh my God.
He said, okay, so you didn't want to work for Starbucks, but you will work for the military making rocket engines. So yeah, I just think,
Yeah, I don't know how you square
I
that.
don't know how you square that either, man. It's funny though. I have to say.
It's people rationalize the weirdest things, man. They really do, and that's especially true with politicians. You know, I know we discussed the Supreme Court ruling before we went on the air, and I do want to touch on that because
Okay.
that's pretty devastating for a
Yeah.
lot of people. And again, you have a bunch of unelected people sitting in the court rationalizing why we should be allowing. And the decision wasn't really about whether Trump can or can't take away temporary protected status. He pretty much can. The issue was that they didn't follow the law in doing it.
Right.
And the Supreme Court ruled that no court should be able to intervene even if they didn't follow the
Right.
law.
They basically
And that's
said he doesn't
crazy.
have to follow the law.
Right. That's
Dude, I'm going to
fascism,
tell
bro.
you something.
That's the fascism.
Everybody's saying that, the litmus test going into the midterms is going to be Gaza, and that's fine. For me, every single person needs to be asked what they're going to do about the Supreme Court, because it's so
Yeah.
stupid now that they are literally like laughing at us almost. You
Right.
should hear what happened today. I think it was Sotomayor that read the dissent from the bench. When she got done, Alito dissented against her dissent. I mean, that's not even something that's a thing.
Right.
So basically, he's going to tell her, yeah, you know what? You're still wrong. And these guys, man, I'm telling you, I don't even know. Somebody, and I'm going to look into it. I don't know what the procedure is to expand the court, but I think history is going to tell us that one of the big things that Joe Biden missed was, because you remember he put together that committee or something to look into what do we do about the Supreme Court and reforming it. Here's what you got. You got a bunch of rich people, predominantly on the right. They're snatching money from everywhere they can find it. They have no ethics rules like other judges do. And you give them $1 million and shoot, what do I'm not going to recuse from your case. I'm going to help you get what you want. I mean, you look at Clarence Thomas, man, that guy should be disbarred.
Yeah.
If he was just a regular lawyer, he'd probably be disbarred. Well, first of all, if he was a regular lawyer, would nobody be giving him RVs and shit?
Yeah, right.
I mean, think about it. This guy had a donor who had business in front of the court paying his mama's rent, bro. Come on, man.
I know.
Where in the world does that even come from? And I'm just sort of like on a whole bunch of different levels. That's so fucked up. Okay, black guy, you're letting this billionaire pay your mama's rent. You can't pay it.
Right. He absolutely
going on these vacations. There's like a portrait floating around and he's sitting around with a bunch of billionaires, and it's like Ken Griffin and this other guy that gave him all this money. Paid his son or his adopted kid's tuition or just something.
Someone bought him like a almost $750,000 RV or something, $500,000 RV, like ridiculous.
And it's in a video, dude. I saw like a documentary. He's in the video driving the RV. And
I've seen that.
Dude, and you know what he's talking about? How he's a regular guy. He likes to get out with hang with the people. That's why he likes that RV. And I assume the poor reporter just never thought to ask who paid for the RV. And if he had, let's face it. Yeah, well, yeah, it's just nuts. You got Alito going on Alaskan fishing trips with a big hedge fund guy. The thing that has me so out of joint with America is how in the hell do we get to be 250 years old and we don't have laws for this stuff?
You're right.
We don't have laws for hardly anything as it relates to people with power and money in these positions. We don't have any laws They can just do what they
There should
want
be
to.
no access like that of any kind to Supreme Court judges. There should be
No.
no access like that.
What, dude,
None.
what about a couple of years ago? There was like a protest. It might have been around the Dobbs decision. And some church group was out in front of the Supreme Court and they got caught on a hot mic talking about how they pray with these guys.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, dude, step down. I just
Right.
don't man, look, I can go out here and do something, I don't know what it might be, relatively minor, and I'll spend a week in jail, unless I got enough money to get bailed out.
Right.
Think about people like the poor kid up in New York, Khalif Browder, I think it was. You know what I'm talking about? He's a
Yeah.
guy that was accused of stealing a backpack that,
Right.
now it appears he didn't even do it. And
Right.
that guy, they ruined this guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And we've got people that are Elon Musk. We're
Yeah.
running around here talking about this guy being a trillionaire. I can't even hardly say it. It's so stupid. We're talking about a guy that has a net worth, if not today, depending on where SpaceX is, $1 trillion net worth. Aside from how gross that is, when you got people running around here, can't even pay their rent, can't get health insurance, all this stuff, and he's worth $1 trillion. At the same time, this guy has caused so much death and destruction with
Yeah.
what he did to USAID. I mean, they're saying by the time it's all over, we're talking about tens of millions of people who are
Mm-hmm.
liable to have wind up dead behind this guy getting in there just playing around with stuff. Hey, we don't have no
Yeah.
laws for this, man. We we
I
have
have
no laws.
I have right, and I have mixed feelings about USAID, right? Because when, like, for example, when Obama was normalizing relationship with
With
Cuba
Cuba.
on the surface, what you saw in the
Hmm.
background, he was using USAID and sending like teams of these groups of people who were supposed to be spreading AIDS awareness were
Hmm.
actually going into Cuba to try to foment an uprising. So behind the scenes, he wasn't being
Mm.
very friendly to Cuba. But
You
there
know
are
what,
things like
man?
that about.
Here's the only thing I would say about that.
But like real quick, the
Okay.
reason why USAID was created was so that a department like the State Department can't use food aid as a weapon. That's the idea, right?
Yep.
The idea is we'll give you aid if you overthrow your government. That's why they separated the two. What Trump did, got rid of USAID, put it back on the State Department. And yeah, there are people that millions of people that relied on aid and food from USAID who are suffering now. And I mean, it's estimated. I don't even remember the number, but
The
it's a
last number I
ridiculous.
heard was something like 12 or 13 million
Right.
people.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say
and I'm
14, but
like,
yeah.
okay, how do we not have any damn recourse against this guy?
Right, right.
And not for nothing, while he was doing that, or while his, big balls and all these crazy kids that he hired to go do this
Yeah,
stuff,
stupid.
he also just basically, trash canned um, all the lawsuits, all the
Yeah,
investigations into his company
against him.
for
Yeah,
everything from just basic labor violations to discriminatory stuff. And all that just happened to go away. And
right.
doggone it, darn it, we don't have any laws. We can't do anything about it. Shoot.
Yeah, and it begs the question, how much of that stuff did he actually get rid of? Like, how much of it was evidence, that could have been used
We'll
against
never
him?
know.
We'll never know, right? We'll never know, and that's the scary thing. It
Hmm.
really is. It's the same thing with the ICE warehouse debacle too, right? ICE goes in, starts buying all these warehouses because they're going to make this massive, revamp of the
Yeah,
detention system.
I
They
saw
paid
this.
they paid something like 60 to 70% over market value,
They
inflating
paid
the market in different cities.
$700 million.
Right. And
And now
now they're having to
they're
sell it.
gonna give them some of them. They said they're gonna give away.
So right. So the people they bought them from made a killing, right? on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to be able to buy these properties back wholesale, resell them again, and make a killing again. And like,
Dude,
you can't tell me there's not something shady going on there. They spend $1
I'm not
billion
trying to tell
in
you that,
2
man,
months,
because it's something
right?
shady
It's
going
shady.
on. This is
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
that is like basic, uh, just boondoggles, man.
yeah. And it
And look,
benefits the wealthy, private equity and stuff. Yeah.
man, I always say it. Look, I'm not against people making money. I'm
No.
not. You know what? I'm not even against a president who I don't particularly agree with. But this is not that. This is a
Right.
guy, honestly, it would not even surprise me if somebody had, like, that candid camera video, hidden camera stuff, where people just walking around stuffing shit in their pockets. I mean, they are stealing everything that is not nailed down,
Right.
right? It's crazy.
Right.
And we
It's like,
and Democrats walking around here worried about Mom Donnie.
right. You made me think of
He needs to
you made
apologize.
you made me think of Eddie Murphy in Trading Places when he first gets that house. He's putting all the stuff in his pocket. No, that's yours. What are you talking about? I did
It's,
cigars.
yeah, it's like, no, no,
That's
you
what
don't have
that
to
is.
steal it. It's your
Yeah, you have to
stuff.
steal it.
Okay,
Yeah,
man. I'm
that's
gonna have
that.
to find that clip. That's funny.
It's
Yeah, it's. I
hilarious.
mean,
I love that movie.
yeah, it's a. It's interesting. That movie, um, is like it's that movie, um, and a couple of others, but people don't normally think of trading play. They think of it. It's a comedy, but on Wall Street, it's a finance movie. And so,
Yeah.
like one Christmas, one of the trading
Oh,
one of the trading firms I used to do business with gave me like this box set, and it was like Wall Street. And I think maybe the second one had come out, Wall Street Never, or what is it, Money Never
yeah,
Sleeps.
yeah.
And the third movie was Trading Places. On
That's hilarious.
back when we used to use what do they call them? DVDs.
DVDs. Yeah.
You remember those? But
The
yeah,
ancient days.
and you would be surprised. Just one day, go on Twitter and Google Mr. Valentine has set the price.
Mm.
And all these day traders, every time they do something, they think they really hit a lick. Mr. Valentine has set the price. I'm
That's hilarious.
serious, man. It's crazy. And I
That is
mean, it's
funny.
it's so funny because in trading, it doesn't mean anything. I've never heard anybody say anything about somebody setting the price, but it sounds really
Right.
good.
Yeah, it does. It sounds wonderful.
So,
Sounds like somebody has real power or
oh, it's
something.
I
Yeah.
know, Mr. That used to be like on Twitter for the longest time. That was my in my bio. That was the only thing in there. Mr. Valentine had set the price.
That's hilarious.
so, so yeah,
So funny.
it's a
So
crazy
funny.
world, y'all. It's a crazy world.
Yeah.
We got to find laughs where we can, because this
Yeah.
is it's an absolute mess we got going here. But
Yeah. So like I've been digging into this ice warehouse thing, like trying to see
dude, that's
who's
nuts.
making
And
money, who's double
somebody's
dipping.
Yeah,
Right.
man, you stay on that because that is just
Somebody's
too
double dipping.
weird of that
Very
whole
right.
thing. It's too weird. Again,
Yeah.
it's the circular stuff. What are they going to sell the buildings back to the guys they bought them from?
I mean,
What?
all
Or
those
who's
private
gonna
equity
who
firms.
needs who needs a former concentration camp? Would you like to be the
Right.
proud owner? You too can own
Here's
one for
another
just, half price.
another another aspect of this that I didn't realize is I started looking into the like contracts, right, for
Mhm.
remodeling these places, remaking these warehouses into detention centers. And I thought, man, a bunch of contractors are probably going to get screwed. Turned out they're about to get paid for nothing
Hmm.
because they already have contracts signed
Mm,
with the government. I didn't realize
mm.
they had already signed contracts.
Wait a
So the
minute, you're
government has
talking about the prison guys, or who?
the contract companies that are going to convert the warehouses into detention centers. These are private
Oh,
contractors in various states, and you're talking like I think it was $1.3 billion worth of contracts that are essentially going to have to be paid out
mm,
because these guys have spent money to start these projects, and that has to be paid back. All that stuff has to be sent back. Like these guys are about to make a lick for doing nothing. Nothing. 3 months ago, they signed a contract to do some government work. The government says, "Well, we're not doing this work. Here's your money," and that's kind of how that works. With
Wow.
one reason I was
How
a government
how does
contractor was,
one get one of those kinds of contracts?
man, if you can get in with FEMA and Homeland Security and get put on their list,
Well,
you set a budget for a job and you tell them it's going to take 6 months and you finish it in 4, they're paying you for 6.
mm,
A lot of my guys
well,
worked their asses off and then took months off. I mean,
geez.
that's how a lot of highway work is like that.
Hmm.
They pay, you bid a certain amount of labor hours, they agree to pay those labor hours. You give your guys a
Wow.
couple months off and keep paying them. That's how that kind of works. So yeah, there's a lot of contractors, in addition to these private equity companies, they're about to be putting billions of dollars in their pockets, and literally nothing happened. It was all essentially, I guess, a propaganda campaign.
Mm,
I don't even know what the goal was. It didn't make sense. The chances of those becoming facilities that meet even basic standards were slim. It, like you said, from the beginning, this all seemed like a scam. All of it did. Just like the
mm.
reflecting pool
Oh,
scam. So
dude,
like,
you
look,
know what? I mean,
yeah,
it's equal parts scam and Trump lying, because that guy, if you knew anybody that lied as much as that guy about things that don't even mean anything, he'll lie about anything. You would be trying to get him in front of some psychiatric help, or her,
yeah,
whoever. Anybody that we knew in the real world that just would lie about what day of the week it is, we
yeah.
would be trying to just, you know what, man, why don't you come on over? I've set up
Right.
an
So
appointment for you. I mean, because it's nuts. It's
it
absolutely
is. It
nuts.
is. Like, when was the last time you saw a water feature that had some sort of rubber lining in it? You didn't. Pools have gunite. Most water features are concrete or stone or dirt. You know what I mean? You don't put that kind of stuff in a pond because it'll peel off. One little
Hmm.
air bubble underneath it turns into a giant air bubble, and next thing you know, it's peeling. And it was so stupid. They put a top coat type of a sealer on there. They were driving trucks and stuff on it when it was empty. I'm like, y'all are cracking that. And then, you're going to paint over it with this blue stuff to hide your crack. And then now they're wondering why it's peeling. Every one of those cracks is an air bubble. Boop,
Right.
pop. That's it. Idiots. Idiots.
So
13
when I
million
was a
bucks.
kid, man, we had a swimming pool in our back,
Yeah.
in the backyard. Back in the day when folks could afford shit. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was a nice pool, but you know what? The bottom of that pool was white, dude. It was not some dark. And anybody can tell you that you don't do that. You just don't
Right.
do it. And I don't know, man. It's somebody posted that, what we could do to create our media empire is just, flip the switch and go MAGA, you know?
Yeah.
When I hear how they're
We'd
handing
be
out
rich
money,
tomorrow.
dude, they're handing out money. And look, dude, to a brown and a black person going MAGA, man, I'd have my Maserati by the end of the month.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be,
We'd be buying a
I'd be
house
no,
by the
you
end of
know
the week.
what, dude, I would Maserati. I would be driving one of them James Bond cars,
Nah,
a Vanquish. They were
yeah.
like, "What's Marlon doing?" Oh, girl, didn't you hear Marlon went MAGA? If you ever hear that, people, one of two things: either they're lying or the aliens have got a body double down here, because it ain't me.
Yeah. Right.
It is definitely
Right.
not
It's
me.
not me either.
I couldn't even fake it, dude. I could not. If I got in a room with
I
Donald
couldn't either.
Trump, I couldn't fake it. I'm not
Mm-mm.
saying I would be all crazy or anything, but he would know that I'm not his guy. I just
Right.
nothing he can do for me but leave.
Yeah,
That would be
there's
good.
no way. There's no way I could be on that side of the fence. Not even I can't even fake it. Like you said, I
Well,
wouldn't
that's
be
what I'm
able to
saying.
sit here.
Nobody would believe me.
No,
Nobody
yeah,
would believe me. I don't
yeah.
think.
There's a lady who recently, I don't remember what her history was, whatever. She was somebody who was kind of liked on social media. she said the N-word, and
Oh,
instead of apologizing, she kept doubling down and saying it and saying it. And I saw this comedian, and he was talking about it, and he was like, just nobody believes her because she's trying to be racist, but like you could tell she doesn't feel it. She
her
doesn't
heart
believe
wasn't
it.
in it.
Yeah, her heart's not in
She
it,
didn't
right? That's what he
she
said. And I
didn't
was
put the
laughing
hard
so hard.
R on it, man.
Yeah, right, right.
I remember this story. I don't remember who it was about, but yeah, she's trying to go get
Yeah.
that money and she just couldn't sell it. Just couldn't sell it. I
Yeah,
mean, I
even like the
guess
Nazis,
that's good, kind of, I
right?
guess.
Even neo-Nazis didn't believe her. Like, yeah, I was like, that's bad. When Nazis won't even believe
Yeah,
you,
the
that's bad.
Nazis are like,
Yeah.
"Girl, you ain't one of us. Get on out of here, you
Right,
liberal."
right. So yeah, I don't know, man. We live in this weird society where everybody wants to run and just grab the money, and they have no integrity, and I don't know how people look at themselves in the mirror, especially like anybody who's like a non-white person, like a Latino or a black guy who's talking all this stuff about Trump being the good guy, and like, yeah, I mean, that's just so we're in the
Dude,
upside
listen.
down world, man. I don't know what's going on. It's
Listen,
just
man, let me tell you something. These folks, they're trying to make me leave the country. Yes, I'm telling
yeah.
you. I am giving it some consideration. I don't know if you
I mean,
remember Zerlina Maxwell. Well, she still got a show on
yeah,
Progress Radio. And I saw in my feed, she looking all relaxed and stress free, or lower stress level in mine. And she's in Italy, dude. And I'm
yeah,
sitting here going, huh, Italy. And you see, Trump done pissed off the prime minister of Italy, and I
yeah.
mean, she was kind of trying to be, Trump friendly, and he said something like she was begging to be in a picture of him with
Right.
him. Ain't nobody
Yeah,
begging to be in a picture with Donald Trump. This guy, I'm gonna tell you what,
if
man. When I get to be 80, I just want to have his whole, like, that world, that bubble that he's in, where he's
the
the
fantasy
star of
world.
every fucking story.
Yeah.
Everything that happens, it's all about him.
What I
I would
think
love
is
to.
funny, I think it was funny because Maloney is not someone that, you go talking trash about. She is loud. She is
Dude,
far right,
she wound
belligerent as
up.
hell.
She,
Yeah.
she
She's
wound
belligerent, bro.
up and put a freaking
Yeah.
haymaker on this guy and ended it with something like, Italy doesn't beg anyone.
Yeah.
Boom. I was
Yeah.
just like, whoa, okay, Miss Maloney.
Dude, even some of the like lawmakers who are in the opposition party, and like a lot of lawmakers who didn't even like her stood up for her, saying the same thing. Like, we don't beg anybody for anything.
Well, dude, that's
And I
what
was just like, that was the common theme. I was just kept laughing, like,
it's
oh,
the thing
it's like,
they don't seem to understand. Look, we probably, had we kept up like with a diplomatic approach, talking to
yeah,
people, we probably could have made some headway with Iran. We
yeah,
probably, well, you know, not for nothing, we could have just not torn up Obama's agreement, but
that's true.
there's that. But I'm talking
Could have
about
built
like with
on
the
it.
citizenry, where he was telling these people they need to rise up, and then they look up and he's killed half of their leadership. How how do you think those people are going to want to be your friend? Because if they didn't,
Right,
they love their country, they might not have liked those guys, right?
right,
But now, you do that, you kill 150 or 60 kids
right,
in their little school and teachers, and you're wondering why people don't want to talk to us.
right. When a foreign country attacks your country, everybody becomes a
Everybody,
nationalist, right?
think about it.
Everybody.
I did not like George Bush. I did not vote
Right.
for George Bush. But I was in New York on 9/11, running just like
Mad as
everybody else,
hell.
and that was my guy. That's the only guy we had. Now, he proceeded to screw it up, but at
Yep.
that moment, everybody was on the same team.
Right.
And so,
Right.
I think that is human nature, and you're seeing it in Cuba, you're seeing it in
Yeah.
Iran. I don't know, man. These guys are operating on a playbook from the 40s.
Yeah.
you know, and it ain't working that well. But
No,
well, man, we've hit 1 hour, and
we sure
something I
did.
tried to do. This has been a lively discussion. I think we lived up to our billing today. I have been trying to find something that'll make people smile that we can end on, just because, man, we're talking about a lot of heavy, just negative stuff. And I saw this. I
Yeah.
don't even know what these little animals are, but there's this. What caught me was this sign, and the sign says, do not feed these things, no matter what they say. And I'm like, well, what are they talking about? I'm thinking it's like some type of like a gorilla or a little monkey or something that might. Yeah, that's not it, dude. You gotta check this out. The quokka. I don't even know how to say that. What the heck, dude? And they don't feed him.
Right.
But wouldn't you want to feed that little dude? He seems harmless. He probably at night turns into something. But look, I mean, I don't even know. Look, apparently people are used to him. And he's like, come on now, just give me something. Anyway,
Feel
man,
bad for not feeding that little guy.
They said don't feed him, no matter what he says. You heard that little sound he was making. You just want to go in your pocket and, give him a Tootsie Roll or something. I don't know.
Something.
Anyway, folks, another week, another Thursday, another edition of a show with no name.
There you go.
I put a couple of the articles that I was talking about in the chat, and as with all of my written work, everything is there's no paywalls. Same thing with Arturo. So if you're not already, you should consider becoming a follower. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make it real easy for you. There we go. A little QR code for Mr. Arturo Dominguez.
That's cool.
And if you got your phone out, you know what to do. That'll take you straight to his Substack. And your support is what, and there is mine. Whether you become a paid subscriber or just a free subscriber, it all helps. If you're not able to or don't want to become a paid subscriber, we need to spread the word. So, feel free to share our work, share our newsletters with your friends. I always tell people, share it with your enemy. People you don't like, they'll piss them off if they read mine. Who is that guy? Saying all this liberal stuff, but seriously,
liberal stuff,
guy saying all this radical liberal stuff. No, man, I mean,
East Texas.
No, I'm serious. I got them around here. I got people, man. There's this one house, and I always say it's the trifecta. They got a Confederate flag, an American flag, and a Trump flag. Well, actually, now they've got some kind of a 250 anniversary flag that doesn't. I don't look at it, man. That stuff really, it depresses me that it's still, so prevalent. But whatever.
Right.
But give us a look. And like I said, I think, man, the other day I was looking, I have like hundreds of essays. I've been doing this 6 years. I guess it all adds up. So every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, we'll be right here. So until next time, folks, we'll see you on the other side. Take care.
Bye, y'all.